So I read an article yesterday about how some states are reinstating firing squads because the drugs used for lethal injection are becoming too costly and too difficult to get. And then I made the mistake of reading some of the comments. And I was actually surprised by how many people are for the death penalty. And I think a lot of that has to do with we're so disconnected. You know, it just seems like something that would never, like, I would never think that this is something that I would have to think of. But then I started doing some research, and I made a comment on the article, and I'm like, how many people are convicted that are actually later to be found innocent? For the record, it's just under 5%. It's actually about 4.7, but everybody rounds up to 5. And I said, humans are flawed. Our court systems are flawed. Even if one innocent person is executed, it's too many. And then someone commented, this is only about the method of administration of the penalty. It's not about the trial. Your question is handled in the appeals process. And then I replied, there have been instances where after decades of incarceration and the exhaustion of appeals, people have been found innocent through the work of organizations outside the justice system. Plus, you don't automatically just get an appeal. You have to show reason for needing one. I was just making the point that capital punishment shouldn't even be on the table. To which someone else replied, sorry, but I'd kill 5 innocents if it meant that 95 criminals die, which just blew my mind. Like, that is not a lottery I want to play. Thank you very much. Like, no, thank you. And then someone's like, oh, and then my reply to that was, and if those innocent people were your children. And then somebody else replied, my children know better or my children would know not to put themselves in a position to be falsely imprisoned. And yes, I'm saying that those that are falsely imprisoned are there based on their actions. It's not fair, but it's true. To which I finally replied, Stephen Truscott was convicted for murder when he was 14 years old. And the only thing he was guilty of was being weird. And it really got me thinking about capital punishment in general and our justice system. Because, like, it's not so cut and dry. Right? Like, we put so much faith into our justice system, and we look at it with these rose-colored glasses, and the system is flawed, right? Like, it's created by people, it's run by people, it's full of people, and people are flawed, right? Like, you've got your judges, and you've got your lawyers, and you've got your police, and all these people have their own agendas, and it's, things are up for interpretation, and just like, there's just so many things that are going on, and it's so complicated. And there's so many cooks in the kitchen that to decide that you're going to gamble with somebody's life based on this system just seems bizarre to me. Like, when I was young, I was for capital punishment. It made sense to me, you've got rapists and murderers and pedophiles, and kill them all. But the older and wiser I got, well, maybe not so much wiser, but I got older, I came to realize that, you can't put that much faith in people. You can't. Like, you do the best you can, but when it comes to people's lives, you should not gamble with other people's lives. That's ridiculous. And most wrongful convictions are men of color. I was going through a list on Amnesty International, and a lot of them are Latino or Black men. And it really says something about the underlying current of racism, in our systems and in our countries. So they're already marginalized groups. So it's so easy as someone who is privileged in their whiteness to step back and go, well, it's not my problem, but it should be my problem. And since 1973, 144 people on death row have been found innocent later. 144 people. So that's a lot of people. Like I wouldn't want one person to ever be wrongly executed. Like we're past that as a species. Like it's one thing when it was 100 years ago and we were barbaric. But, you know, we live in a day and age where we should be better than that. So, and what a lot of people don't realize is that to try and incarcerate someone for the death penalty costs anywhere from 3 to 11 times more than it does to try and incarcerate somebody for life without parole. 3 to 11, depending on the state. So, you know, like even from a monetary point, like is it worth the cost, the extra cost, just to get this vengeance? And is it worth our social conscience to execute people? Like is it really worth it for us? And I'm going to bring up Steven Truscott again. He was 14 years old when he was convicted of the rape and murder of his classmate, Lynn Harper. And he was primarily convicted on the fact that he was the last person to see her alive. And he admitted to seeing her, to being the last ones to see her. He dropped her off. He gave her a ride somewhere and dropped her off. And he's like, I left her, when I left her, she was alive. And that got him convicted. He had no reason to lie because he knew he was innocent. And what I think is really important to bring up is that his appeals were all denied. So, you know, the gentleman made the comment about the appeals process. You don't just automatically get an appeal. It's not like, you know, you go to court and you're convicted and then you're like, okay, next trial. You know, it doesn't work like that. You have to have a reason to be able to appeal. For example, like the judge gave poor instructions to the jury, or evidence was collected incorrectly or illegally. Like you don't just automatically get a new trial. It's not a 3 strikes or you're out kind of thing. It's, you know, it doesn't work that way. So he was incarcerated for nearly 50 years. And the worst part is whoever did rape her and murder her went scot-free. No one will ever pay for her crime or for her death. Like no one will ever pay for that crime. You know, so her family loses out of justice. His, you know, Steven Truscott's family, they'll never get justice. They get a monetary sum, but they'll never get back his life. Right? Like it's 50 years. Like that's his life. So I really think we really need to take a look at, and this was the thing for me. I really had to take a look at, like, why do I support this? And then once I really started looking at it and thinking about it, you know, like you have a 1 in 14 billion chance of winning the lottery. So your odds, and people play that all the time, your odds of going to jail, being wrongly convicted, your odds are better than winning the lottery. Come on. You know, so it really is something that we need to look at and really need to consider. Like, just think about it. That's all I'm asking. Just think about it. So yeah, please like, share, do whatever it is we do with these videos. Feel free to leave a comment. Check out my my Instagram and my Twitter and my blog, Musings from Tara Girl. And yeah, until next time, see ya.